Thank you for tuning in. This is Robin Martinelli. I own and operate Martinelli Investigations, and this is my podcast, Beyond Evidence. Today we have Deadly Secrets, the Denise Broadie Story. So we're glad you're here, gals. We are so excited. I'm so excited that y'all could make the time to come. I'm very appreciative that we could do this. Can you both introduce yourself?
I'm Tammy Hammonds. I am the eldest daughter of Denise Broadie.
I am Karen Young, the middle daughter of Denise Broadie.
Why don't you tell me both a little bit about your mom?
I'll start. Mom was very much the matriarch of our family, especially after our grandmother passed. She was the person in our family that everybody looked to for wisdom, for advice,
For comfort,
whatever. She was just that gal, you know. If you want to have a good time, if you're sad, if you're whatever, she was the person, the go-to person in our family for any need, no matter how big or small.
And she was very vibrant.
Very vibrant. Very full of
She
life.
was the life of the party.
Mm-hmm.
She was very fun and playful, and always enjoyed spending time with her grandchildren and her brothers and sisters and anybody in the family. If there was a party, Mama was there to liven it up.
A graduation. She was a big supporter, a big proponent for family, period. She was going to be the person who showed up if nobody else was there. You could count on her to come to your basketball game, to your softball game, your graduation. Yeah. She is sorely missed.
And your mom had how many children?
Three
girls.
3 girls.
And she has how many grandchildren?
8.
8. And our criminal, civil, domestic case here is in Rockdale County.
Correct.
I guess let's start off with, this is Deadly Secrets, dealing with your mom's death. It set a case precedence a little bit in Georgia. Let's first start out with the day y'all met, either one of y'all, her husband at the time, Cleveland.
They set a time aside for us to all meet at Donatello's. We were in Conyers, and she wanted to formally introduce him to us being my sisters and I, her best friend Gail, her best friend Gloria. He brought all of us wine, chocolate wine. You know, we thought that was a nice gesture. He seemed like a very decent person. I personally thought that they were moving too fast, but
We all thought they were moving too fast because they had, 6 months maybe?
yeah, 6 months they had known each other and was talking about moving in, and he showed her a lot of affection and seemed to be a pretty decent person at the time.
Yeah, very loving and caring.
And that's what she was lacking in her life. She had been a widow for like 5 to 7 years, I think it had been, since her husband had passed.
Yeah.
And so she was very much wanting to get back out there and start dating. And there was a Christmas party coming up, and that's where she met him at a Christmas party in 2012, December of 2012, I want to say.
And Cleveland worked at Publix.
Later,
he worked at Publix.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they got married. Well, they got married They got married May 9th,
2014.
Besides heaven, where is your mom today? In heaven?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before we get into what happened to your mom, did you have any spidey feelings or gut feelings or anything about him that maybe gave y'all pause?
Not initially. Initially, you know, he very much came across as a doting husband. He did have some quirky off-color ways that made people uncomfortable, but it was all in the scope of, I guess, like who he was as a person. Like, you know how you meet a person and they either are a jokester
Or quiet and...
Yeah. He had his own very strange way of relating to people that was uncomfortable, if you will.
Very uncomfortable. And we didn't like the fact that he was not a family guy.
No.
And my mom, like Tammy said in the beginning, was all about family. Mm-hmm. And he had no relationship with his mother. He had a daughter who he had an estranged relationship with. That was kind of weird. He had sisters so he didn't get along with anyone in his family.
That
He had
was
not
strange.
seen or talked to them in years.
Not until Mama came along. because, like I said, she was very much a family person. So she immediately wanted to mend those fences, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Try to blend the families.
Because she was a Southern family.
Right.
Y'all are a
right.
Southern family.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. They're from Virginia, which is north, but I guess still sort of south, but different values.
And your mom had a home. She had a house.
Correct.
Before she met Mr. Brody, correct? It was her home, or did they buy it together?
It was her home. She was already in the process of becoming a homeowner when she met him.
Okay.
That was already a goal that she was checking off.
What does your mother's death certificate say of how she passed?
It says a couple things. It says pneumonia. I think it's 3 different types of pneumonia listed there. And then the final one, the cause of the death is HIV. It's AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome is what it says was the cause of her death.
So let's take it back to why y'all called me.
When our mother passed, she was initially diagnosed with cancer. And so she had been going through cancer treatments, and it was our understanding that the cancer was killing her. It had become metastatic, and she was in and out of the hospital. Last 30 days of her life, she spent at Emory being treated for pneumonia. The doctors couldn't understand, and encephalopathy, because she had memory loss. She didn't know who she was. She didn't know who we was at certain times. So Emory was trying to diagnose and figure out where the encephalopathy was coming from. There was a cause that was causing that memory loss. And we were told once they identified the cause of the encephalopathy that they would treat that and it would all of a sudden clear up and she'll come back to normal. Well, they were giving her different medications to treat the encephalopathy and also giving her chemotherapy to treat the cancer, and nothing was working. It was everything they tried. It was either making her worse. It would kill her white blood cell count. So it would give her fever and sicknesses, and, they had to stop the treatment because she went down. So smart doctor at Emory said, this has to be something else. It can't be cancer. It can't be something else is causing this. And so he decided to run HIV tests. He said, what else could it be in his mind? So he ran tests and found out that she was not dying from cancer. She was actually dying from AIDS. HIV, she was in full-blown AIDS. We found that out 3 days before she died, that it was AIDS that she was dying from.
And what did y'all do next?
Karen went to the sheriff's department. And
after she passed,
we talked about the fact that this was against the law. This was against the law. And so Karen said we should press charges. I said we definitely should. So upon her going to the sheriff's department and pressing charges on our behalf and going back and forth with the sheriff's department about how will we prove this? How do we know she didn't give it to him? Or that became a small debate and us just getting put to the back burner. I called absolutely every week to ensure that they stayed on top of this, to try to make an arrest, being that the detective at the time was just saying that the evidence wasn't there and the means to gather that evidence was limited, I guess, on his end. So I said to Karen, maybe we need a private investigator. Yeah. Maybe we need to get a PI.
I started Googling, looking for private investigators in Georgia, number 1 private investigators in Georgia, and came upon Robin Martinelli and a news article you had did with ABC News on a case you had. And I watched your YouTube videos, and then I was like, oh, yes, this is what we need. She's a pit bull.
Yeah, I told Kay we need a dog.
Yeah, so let's call Robin.
Well, one of the most interesting things about the case was your detective.
Yes.
Which actually worked with me in the jail at Rockdale County.
Yeah.
And
coincidences.
I know, and I started rolling my eyes like, oh my gosh, he made it to detective.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
But you also knew our struggle knowing him. So
yes,
yeah,
I knew that struggle too.
Yes.
One of the things I recall is that one of y'all or somebody went to the house and found or you were aware of medication. How did that go?
Because my sister, our baby sister, was also a resident at the home. She was living there before my mom passed. And Cleveland was trying to get her out. He was trying to evict her. And so she lived there. She had clothes, her bedroom sets, everything. Her kids, they all live in that home. And so we decided to go in the home and let her back in because he had locked her out. He changed all the locks on the house. And so a couple cousins, our husbands, sons, we got as many family members as we could.
After your mom passed.
After she passed.
He tried to lock your sister out of the house.
He did.
He did immediately.
Yeah, he did. He locked her out of the house. We all had keys to my house because we looked after her. We were her caretaker. So we had access to the home. We had keys. And when she passed, or when we all got the call from Emory that she had AIDS, he changed the locks and told us, do not come to this house without the police. And so we had to get in the house. It's like when we found out it was AIDS, we were like, there's evidence there. It's something there that's probably going to tell us that he does have that, because he denied it to us in several text messages saying he don't have AIDS, he don't HIV, he don't know where she got it from. It wasn't him. And so we gave him a month to get comfortable. We laid quiet, silent, and then we decided to make entry into the house. And then once
you found the pill bottles that were, what was that like?
When we finally got in the house, we searched the bedroom and all the drawers, and in his nightstand was pill bottles. And I opened the pill bottles because he had ripped the labels off of the bottles. Only one label was on a bottle, and it said Viagra.
Go figure.
Yeah, it was a Viagra pill bottle. So I took the pills out of that Viagra bottle and took a picture of them. It was 2 or 3 little blue pills. I took a picture of the front and back of the pills and took a picture of the bottles so I can Google and see what type of pills are these. Are they really Viagra? And so then he had some wrapped in a napkin also in that drawer. So I took a picture of those as well. When I Googled the pills when we got back home, I saw that the blue ones were HIV treatment drugs.
And didn't you, maybe not you, but didn't somebody find some medical bills and maybe the pharmacy and stuff, that why he was being treated, and it had been a long time?
Yes, it was a LabCorp bill charging him for an AIDS test. And
right.
Yeah, so I did find those in a folder that he had hidden under the bed in a case. I found that and took a picture of the LabCorp bills as well.
So how was your reception when you reported the crime?
I actually reported the crime over the phone because it was COVID time, remember? So they weren't coming to the house to take the police report, and you couldn't just go in person. So I called and made the report over the phone when they assigned it to a detective.
And I remember there had not been a whole lot done on the case, to our knowledge. So I also know that we wrote a letter that we all talked about. I did open records request to get the police report and the incident report.
Yes.
And then our firm took that letter to a possible victim, which was supposedly his girlfriend at the time.
Yes.
Now, is she one of the victims too?
She's not one that has pressed charges, no.
She hasn't.
No.
They're aware of her, but no, she has not
She hasn't come forward.
Because I was there. She just blew the whole thing off and no big deal and whatever, thank you. And so we were told that was the girlfriend.
Yes.
So from there, we put a lot of evidence we could find together. And then all of us loaded up and went to, or a bunch of us went to the sheriff's office to have a meeting.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that meeting.
Boy, intense.
I will never forget that, because when a private investigator escorts a family or friends to the big room at the sheriff's office, and you got the sheriff there, you have different people there, it was almost like, who's going to speak first? And like I told y'all on the way over here, I felt like I had 3 aces in my hand, and I was convincing everybody else we weren't playing poker at all. Like they were just, well, Robin, did you do this? Did you do that? And I remember at that meeting, I told them if she had AIDS or she had something different than what she thought, she would have told people. And we started coming up with a list: her dentist, her doctor, her best friend she was going on a cruise with. If she knew she had something, She would have never kept it from a person that's going in her mouth because she was getting some dental work, and her dentist knew her forever.
Yes.
And every one of these people told me, had she had AIDS, she would have told me, and we would have acted accordingly and did accordingly. And none of these people said that. And also, I remember y'all mentioning to me that your mother would occasionally wonder why her husband needed to wear a condom.
Yes. Yes.
So she's thinking it's because he's having an affairs or things, which he was doing that too.
Right.
But it's like, okay, we're this old. Why are we using condoms?
Exactly.
Okay. I can't get pregnant. And she thought that was odd, and she told that to y'all.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is odd. I think one of y'all had a text conversation with Cleveland, the supposed suspect, which has been arrested. That took an act of God. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
He did not get arrested because I'm working my tail off. He did not get arrested, in my opinion, because y'all were screaming at the top of your lungs and everybody else. He got arrested because why?
Because Karen sent out a series of emails to all the media here in Atlanta and got a hit from a young investigative reporter named Sierra. This story resonated with on a very personal level. So she took it to heart and reached out, and the rest is history. When she just merely called there and asked for a police report, it lit a fire. Next thing I know, I was getting a call from the detective like this was the first time we spoke. It was the most professional conversation I had had with the man in a year. So just by Sierra making an inquiry at the sheriff's department about this case and whether it's being open or closed and asking for a police report started a chain reaction of things to happen, which led to his arrest.
Kudos to her.
Yes.
So when that story was getting started, I also remember y'all telling me during one of the bond hearings or first appearance hearing that the judge actually turned to, in Rockdale County Criminal Court, turned to the detective and says, why aren't we upgrading this to attempted murder or homicide? How did that go? Y'all were in the courtroom.
Yeah, because the charges that were listed, because he was asking for a bond, I guess, and the judge is like, okay, shouldn't this be malice murder? Didn't someone die because of his actions? So that's the reason why she denied bond initially. Because she felt that those charges were being upgraded.
We're going to be upgraded
to malice murder.
And now we have more victims.
Absolutely.
So how many victims do we have now?
3, including our mother.
4.
4, including our mother, yes.
4. And some of those were affairs and people that he had met while he was with your mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't know exactly how many people this man could have affected.
These are the women who were brave enough to come forward, but we did receive, after this was on the news, several inboxes from different women who even encountered him in the store, who dodged the bullet, if you would. So he just, the mind of a person like this is just like, what is he thinking?
Yeah. And I'm sure there are plenty more victims.
Plenty more people.
The victims, to me, is numerous. And a lot of women are not brave enough to come forward or accept the fact that they encountered him or had relationships with him. And
missed that. Missed a sign or something.
And she passed April 2nd, 2022.
Yes.
And they've been investigating since April 2nd, 2022, right? Or investigating since y'all went to the sheriff's office and explained. And you remember we were like Googling other states that had this. And I kept telling the detectives, I've seen people be arrested for a lot less than this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that he was still out working at Publix.
Yes.
Right.
And what did he do at Publix? Didn't he stock?
Yeah, he was a stock clerk or something like that.
Which I'd mentioned to y'all. What if he cut his hand or cut his foot?
Right.
And EMS came out.
Yes.
And you don't have, I don't know, a tag or something or humanity to say, hey, like everybody knows if I get cut because I'm on blood thinners because I don't have my left leg, it's like, excuse me, we need to do something with Robin because she gets bleed out.
Right.
That's the first thing you say, blood thinners. But you also would want to say, hey, I have HIV, and that's like a Publix situation. And I'm pretty sure Publix didn't know. I'm not sure, but
Right.
I think they didn't know.
Yeah. If he wasn't forthcoming with people he was intimate with, I don't see him going to the job, just
Right.
making people aware.
Right. And we're not 100% sure, but we think that if you do have HIV, one of the laws is written that you're supposed to go to your
Department of
health
Health.
department and either like check in with them or say this is me or something to that effect. Not
Yeah.
really sure,
Yeah.
but to help protect the public.
Yes.
And it would have been really, really simple to tell the truth.
Really.
Absolutely.
And your mom could be here today had he told the truth. Now, if he told the truth, I don't know if they'd gotten married or I don't know. But
Right.
had he told the truth, she could have been here because she was very vibrant.
Very
Yes.
vibrant and very health conscious. Very, very much health conscious. I mean, from when we were children, we had to take our vitamins every day. She took her vitamins every day. So
And she was very active,
very.
very independent.
Yes. Very.
And how has it been since she's been gone?
Terrible.
How's everybody doing?
Not well. Mom has a twin brother, and his health since she passed has deteriorated. He doesn't want to talk about the case. He doesn't.
He doesn't want to talk about her.
Her or yes.
And he's an educator.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. He works in construction.
He's in
okay.
construction.
He's not doing well at all. I mean, the family.
The family isn't. It's not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same at
We
all.
used to have family reunions yearly at her home, which of course he, received her home in a year support ruling and has since sold the home.
So he profited from her death.
Absolutely,
Yes.
he did.
So he profited for selling a home before, I guess, he was incarcerated. Or maybe he sold it while he was incarcerated.
Wow.
Yeah, while he was incarcerated, his girlfriend at that time, one of the many, was giving. He gave her rights over him, administrative rights, I guess. I'm not sure.
Power of attorney or
Power of
something.
attorney over him, so she was able to handle his affairs outside while he was inside.
And this was the marital home
Yes.
Yes.
and had evicted the younger daughter, y'all's sister.
Yes.
And so took that home away and then made maybe close to $70,000-$80,000, which y'all think or we think he paid for his attorney
Yes.
with that money.
Yes.
Yes.
And y'all have been to all the court hearings. And how has that been?
Excruciating. Just to even see him, it's hard. He wants to stare at you.
Yeah.
And like he's trying to intimidate us.
And we relive
Yeah.
that whole event every time we appear in court. We relive the situation, the fact that our mother married this man. She loved him. She thought he loved her. He cared for her. And he watched her die. He slowly watched her die. And at no point in time throughout her battle with cancer did he even mention the fact that you could have HIV or I have HIV. You could have it.
And didn't he look sickly?
Once we
Well,
think about it,
yeah.
he looked
Yeah.
Like
But since
gangly, sickly?
he did. But since she passed away, he started he gained weight and
he was able, I guess, to purchase his medication with the money he's gained from her death.
And while we were on our way over here, y'all had mentioned that you didn't even was able to get her clothes or her jewelry or any
Nothing.
family heirlooms.
a lot of her personal effects, we had to learn their whereabouts through the women that he was literally
Giving them
showering
their
trying to-
purses.
showering them with
Your
mom's things.
Was it Birkin purses that your mom had and he was giving to the girlfriends?
Brahmin.
Yeah.
Her Brahmin bags and her Coach bags and
Yeah.
her Dooney and Burke and,
Yeah.
whatever.
And took her clothes to Goodwill, supposedly.
And he
Took all her things to Goodwill.
and
Which,
gave her.
Which
she-
y'all could have made a quilt out of. and-
Exactly. He gave, she had a jewelry box that stood high, and he gave that to one of his girlfriend's mother, and she gave it back.
She returned it. I have it now.
Yeah, she gave it back to Tammy.
Good. And probably picture heirlooms, albums.
Well, we do have pictures.
We do.
He
Good.
did give the pictures, our diplomas, just pictures and our diplomas to her best friend to give to us. But everything else,
And we took some when we entered the house. We took a lot of the pictures and things that we could find because he had already started getting rid of things by the time we were able to gain entry into the house. So we took what we could as far as pictures.
And didn't he have an incident that was probably not true that dealt with your sister about thinking that she did something to the cars or something to get her kicked out of the house as far as a restraining order?
Yeah, that's how he got her out of the home. He accused her of violating or
damaging the vehicle.
And so he filed for a PTO, a protective order, saying that he feared for his life with her in the home, and her kids live there. So,
and they'd been living there for a while.
Yeah.
And that was the
longer than him. He had just came back to the home. My mom actually put him out after finding out about his affair. And so he came home 6 months before she passed. He had been back in the home.
And I remember that I really worked really hard on y'all's case for a long time.
Yeah.
And I can't make the police do their job.
Right.
Although I felt defeated, I kept telling y'all karma was going to come back and soon. And that if worse comes to worse, we could do a warrant application hearing or something.
Yes.
But just the fact that there was more victims and could be more victims.
Yes.
Even if he went to the hospital and stuff. But this was just so sad and so disheartening. I hope that I helped the best I could, especially in that room. I felt like we were a voice. But y'all had both told me, and Kay, you had told me that it's really hard for y'all to do something like this and talk about it.
Yes.
Yes.
How hard? Because you were telling me how you have to prepare yourself a day ahead and makes you upset and then your stomach and just gearing up for that time. How is that?
It's horrible because, like I said, every time we have to discuss this, we relive the situation over and over again. So it gives me anxiety. I can't eat for at least 2 or 3 days leading up afterwards because, I'm going to have nightmares and think about it and, just relive the whole moment again.
Is there anything else you would like to add? I'm sure that we want people to call the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office or my firm if they think they've come in contact with Cleveland in any way.
Yes.
So they can get tested, talk to the detective. He is still incarcerated.
He is.
And his bond is $500,000.
1.5.
A 1.5 million. He hasn't made that yet.
No.
But he did proclaim his innocence, and then all of a sudden he's now saying, I don't know where she got it, or there's just different defenses, but that saying is Rockdale County, the city of Conyers.
Correct.
But Rockdale County is prosecuting.
Yes.
And is there anything else that you would like to add about the situation? I so appreciate that y'all have come in because my goal is for this to get out. One of the victims is in Pennsylvania.
Kentucky.
Right. So I'm hoping this just widespreads that the awareness of this.
Yes.
Yes. So if you've been in contact with Cleveland Brody from Conyers, Georgia, then
On a cruise.
Anywhere, a
Anywhere.
cruise, and you met him in a store.
Because it
and-
could be dormant.
Yes, absolutely. You should get tested. You should contact the Rockdale County Sheriff Department or Robin Martinelli. Make them aware of your encounter with Cleveland Brody.
Thank y'all so much for coming.
Absolutely.
It means so much. And I so appreciate y'all taking time out of your day.
And thank you, Robin. You have been a godsend.
Absolutely. We really appreciate the work you did on our behalf.
I think I'm going to cry before y'all do because I try. But thank you so much. And thanks for coming on.
Anytime.
Anytime,
Okay.
Robin. Thank you.
Please contact us by our website, martinelliinvestigations.com. Martinelli ends in an I. Investigation starts with an I, so that's 2 I's with an S on the end. Our email is MII and then Georgia spelled out, GeorgiaPI @gmail.com. And please call us anytime at 770-337-3999, 770-337-3999 for a free consultation. Thanks so much and have a great peachy day.